In the beginning, the Lord Tom created the backrooms and the apse. The apse were a formless void, and darkness covered the face of the screen. The spirit hovered over the faceless torsos within. The Lord Tom had planted this garden, and there he put the headless, muscular men he had formed. And the Lord Tom commanded the men, "You will eat of every tree of the garden, but of the tree of life you shall not eat. For in the day that you eat of it you shall see that it is not good that man should be alone, however alone together." I asked my doctor to chemically castrate me, not because for me to love a man is a sin, but because it's a prison. Loneliness breeding loneliness, trauma fucking trauma, until all that's left are ghosts in the machine. The poison in an apple blooming in my gut. We met as most lovers do, in June. You told me my eyes were just like me. You could not see the bottom of them. As I hung, a fleshly pendant hanging from your neck, your leather belt around mine as I'd hallucinate a life together. We'd fuck all night and watch Cosmos, listening to Neil talk about the origins of the universe. My pills were yellow and yours were blue, little matte stars that we'd swallow. Our safe word was the name of the farthest planet visible to the naked eye. It was a sticker on your wall, a remnant of your childhood. Its phosphors still capable of being triggered in the dark after all this time, when there was hardly any streetlight left in the window to bleach our movement in the dark. Teasing an ordinary life in which I'd otherwise have no place without the aid of opioids. The thought that I could always please you was enough to burst through the glass moment. The first time you saw me as a girl, I saw you flinch, but you carried me on your back through the black cul-de-sac, and though I knew then you would not keep me in your life, I knew that you had been making room, and that if you had only waited for me to give up on womanhood, we might still be there. You cannot have known the places I'd go on to take us in my head, how warmly lit, how the cigarette's smoke would gauze that little world, how its beacon end would tinge the ashtray, a signal fire for we, the carnal wanderers, to abandon our pilgrimage and pursue periodic bliss in mutual stasis. The memory produces a hovering, convex hollow, a cumulus dispersing across my body like grief, or any raw harm as is never undone, communicating nothing that can be expressed, only understood that with you I had finally accessed intimacy, and not just proximity. I imagine telling you, don't you understand? I could have done anything at all, at any given time, and yet I chose to spend my days remembering looking at you through the sheer dark and the denim moonlight while you slept, your cum still inside me, and thinking to myself that I was there, that I was really there, that I was with you, and that I know it. I know it because I choose to know it, because love is a choice, because love is a choice made over and over again, because love is a choice made anyway. It is a magnetism, a sustained electric precarity, inhabiting a life of its own and verging on ours so easily lost. You told me that I was too much, that you couldn't imagine introducing someone so feminine to your mother. I couldn't help not knowing if I was a boy or if I was a girl. I still don't. For the longest time, I could not internalize, could not recognize that I would never, not once, return to Saturn.
A lonely bacon, dying in a Spanish hospital, comes to mind.
And to think, if I had been so much as anything other than what I am, perhaps I'd have been yours. Perhaps I'd have survived myself. You'd have used my tears as lube and bred me in the salt lamplight, showing me what life is really for, when there was still life. The toke of a joint erupting, the nearby lampshade making an eclipse as you sat there, trying to communicate ordinary loss and the fear that I would continue to want this, that I would continue to want in this fashion, as if without you I would die when it was still possible to die. I haven't been in my life for some time. The world is rectangular now. The weight of any given man will have me hovering beneath my thumbs, ever reading my texts and not replying. The only evidence left of them, there's nothing to believe, only to accept as the air burgeons beneath our breath, as the decade ends, and in a way, the world. Still, I ask, when do I get to walk with God in the cool of the evening? In the Garden of Jarman, returning inside of Adam? When do I get to eat from the tree of life, the pit sown deep in my barren gore? Why can't I be Eve? Can nothing be sacred and nothing feminine? Only the Adonises that gild this club, the bodies pressed against foam glass, who wouldn't come on me if I was on fire. I, the flaming snow queen, hot and cold, with an impotent rage that's all the rage right now. It has ravaged a garden of my own making. My own simulation, one that may yet be saved, whose flora and whose fauna choke amid the flames. I will flood it with my tears, till the soil with my cock, and watch the ecosystem begin again, a mantra lived through intimacy. Give yourself traumatic pleasure, intermingled invert treasures, blood and shit and piss and cum. From it overfloweth runs beauty thus internalized, climbs up my ass and out my eyes. It then rewrites me cell by cell, recodes heaven into hell. No more girl and no more boy, until the body's only joy is found inside, outside itself, and joins with it and God himself.